All right, welcome and good evening. Hello, my name is Philip Ramos, and I am a certified Gallup strengths trainer, coach and trainer. I also work for Three Key Elements, a local Utah company. They're a self-development company, and I'm proud to be a coach and trainer, mentor for them, and I absolutely love what I get to do, and that is strengths. And so tonight we're going to be interviewing every Wednesday night at 7 p.m., every 10 a.m. on Saturday mornings. I do an interview about how people are using their natural talents, the way they naturally think, feel, and behave in pursuing their goals and pursuing the way they live their life and pursuing the things that they love. But before we get started here and introduce my guests, what I'd like to do is just take a few moments here to introduce myself. And that way you guys kind of get to know me a little bit more. Here I am, a picture of me and my beautiful wife. This picture was taken our 21st anniversary around Sugar House Park here in Utah. Again, my beautiful wife, Melissa, so grateful. She helped me get started on this journey of self-development, self-improvement. And I couldn't be more thankful. I'm here today because of her in every way, shape, and form. So grateful for her. Grateful for my family. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for the support of my family. These are both my boys, Sebastian, my oldest boy, and Manolo, my youngest boy. And here's our most recent picture. In fact, my son, Sebastian, so he is currently so he's serving a church mission, and he started last Monday, and he has 2 weeks where he has to be at home, and then he goes to a training center. And the other day, he knows that I do strengths. He knows that, in fact, he's taking a strengths assessment, and I've talked to him quite a bit, and he utilizes it. But one of the things, he came over to us and he goes, Mom and Dad, I believe in you guys. I believe in you. And I thought, wow, that's cool, right? I'm like, wow, my son believes in what I do, right? He believes in us. So I'm grateful for my family. They're a big motivator for who I am and what I do. A little introduction to Three Key Elements, the company I work for. Kirk and Kim Duncan are the president and vice president, and they're here to teach people how to activate their minds, manage their emotions, and fulfill their life missions. And they've been doing it very well, successfully for quite some time. In fact, well over 16 years in coaching and training and delivering programs. So I feel privileged to be among a small group of mentors that they have. Really, it's Kirk, it's Ann Washburn, and myself, and then Cody Duncan, Kirk's son. So I am grateful to be a part of this team. We are a very we're a small team, but we have clients and students all over the world, all over the globe. In fact, my furthest client lives currently in the Czech Republic. So we definitely have a far reach, and so grateful to be able to work with people that are in the same lines or in the same connection with, in terms of personal self-development, right? Personal growth. So as we jump into strengths, we're talking about, and I want to slow down a little bit here, because I think people often, right, when I talk about strengths, they're like, okay, what do you do? We hit the gym together. What exactly do we do, right? So before I bring Marla on, I want to introduce, first off, Clifton Strengths, right? It's an assessment done by Gallup. Now, Gallup, they are, if you go to gallup.com, they're a data analytics company, and they're one of the largest in the world. In fact, they do what they're most well known for is called the World Poll. And so they're constantly taking data about different communities, different areas of the world, work organizations, just everywhere, in terms of, kind of seeing, you probably get them in the mail all the time. Well, they have an assessment. It's called the Clifton Strengths Assessment. And it is actually taken by 90% of over Fortune 500 companies, use it within their organizations, within their teams, their management. And over 1,000 universities and colleges worldwide utilize a Clifton Strengths Assessment. And the purpose of the assessment, it's not where people make the mistake of, it's a personality test. It's not a personality test. Our personality, can often be very, it can change from time to time, right? It's based on our personal reality, what's going on in our life, where are we at, that sort of thing. The Clifton Strengths Assessment is meant to uncover the way you naturally think, feel, and behave, which drives your performance. So there's lots of assessments that are taken to help understand how you learn, what are some of your love languages? How do you communicate? How do you like to, what are some of the best ways to, what are the kind of people that you work better with, that sort of thing. This assessment is 100% driven to help you understand the way you naturally think, feel, and behave in order to drive your performance. Now, what I want to do is I want to kind of show a quick illustration as to why that might be important. People ask me all the time, Philip, what's the benefit of actually knowing what my talents are? Okay. Why would I ever want to know the way I naturally think, feel, and behave? What's the purpose, right? I've gotten along fine in life. I'm doing okay. So what I want to do is share this with you here, right? This is so let me explain this real quick. Fairly simple. This is us, right? Just a human, here we are, and we want to accomplish a goal. This is just a goal, anything that we want. In the pursuit of this goal, we really can't, it can't be anything lateral, right? We can't go to the gym every single day and not put forth and not wake up early or put forth a little more effort than we did last week or yesterday, right? Or maybe change our food a little bit. And we have to do a little bit of those things in order for us to move not just forward, but a slight degree up, right? Slight degree, so that we're actually moving towards a goal, because a goal is something you don't have, right? In the pursuit of something you don't have, it's usually not just a matter of time where you just walk out the front door. If you want to get to the car, right, all you got to do is open up the door. That getting to the car isn't necessarily a goal. Maybe getting a better car than what you have could be a goal, but getting to the car often is not necessarily the goal. We know how to get there. We open up the door, right? We grab the keys, we put one foot in front of the other. However, if we go back to going to the gym and we want to lose weight, improve our muscle mass, all these different things that we want to do, we are going to push our body just a little bit to the point of being uncomfortable so that it grows, so that we gain muscle, so it produces more, right? And so that is the idea behind us pursuing goals in life. Financial goals, relationship goals, is we get a little uncomfortable. We pursue things that might not necessarily be easy for us. Maybe we've never done them before. And so now we're in this position where we're pursuing something that we've never experienced. So now what, right? Now what do we do? So what we do is we will look, okay, here we are right here. And we begin to look at other people that have maybe the results we want. Maybe this person here has been going to the gym. Maybe this person has the financial results. Maybe they have everything that we look at and we're like, wow, I want to be like them. I want to live their life. I want to experience what they're living. And so what we do is we begin to model their results. We begin to do their action steps. We begin to do the things that they do. We wake up when they wake up. We go to the gym. We eat the way they eat. But sometimes how come they get the result? They get the goal, but it's not working for us. It's not clicking for us. And yet we're modeling them. Why is it not working? Then along that road, we lose what we call our authenticity, right? We're no longer authentic to who we are. Maybe we stopped feeling the way we enjoyed feeling, or acting, or doing all these different things. And because we're modeling someone else's behavior, we're modeling someone else's their action steps because we want their success. Now, there are some cases in which modeling is successful, right? What time do you wake up? Oh, okay, surely I'll do that. What time, you go to the gym at this time. But what about the motivation behind those things, right? The person that wakes up at 6 a.m. might have a different motivation than what your motivation might need to be. And this is where we need to take in consideration the way we naturally think, the way we naturally feel, and the way we naturally behave. We are different people. And the more and more we recognize and acknowledge that although we may want the results of this same person, we want them, we have to take in consideration that maybe we're just a little bit different. Maybe we're just a little bit different. We can still get the results. We can still do some of the similar action steps, but some of the motivation, the needs behind what we want are going to be a little bit different. This is where discovering your talents can come into play, right? We want to discover who we are, the way we naturally think, the way we naturally feel, and the way we naturally behave naturally. When we take time to really uncover, right? So if you have kids, maybe you have siblings, maybe you have coworkers where you're in the same work, same field, same job, yet why are they having success and you're not? Or why are you having success and they're not? Why is their motivation different than your motivation? We all have a different way of thinking, feeling, and behaving naturally. All of us do. And the more we understand, the more clear we get, so that this is no longer a question, but that we have a clear understanding of the way we naturally think, feel, and behave, the results that we get in life are authentic results. They are authentic results, and we can duplicate them over and over and over again in any role, in any area of life. So all of Gallup's research, okay, this is they over 27 million people have taken the assessment. They're definitely one of the most well known when it comes time to, again, not personality. We're talking about performance and results. By uncovering the way you naturally think, feel, and behave, what it does is it provides you with a roadmap to think, okay, I want to be in sales, I want to be in management, I have a team I want to manage, I'm a coach, I'm a father, I'm a spouse, a wife, whatever your role, I'm a parent, whatever the role is. Understanding the way you naturally think, feel, and behave dramatically improves, so you do what you do naturally, and which dramatically improves your results, so you're doing them authentically. You're doing them authentically. You're still going to the gym, right? You're still maybe eating your meal plan. You're still waking up early, but your motivation, your needs, everything behind that is completely different. You're motivated by completely different things because you recognize and acknowledge that motivation. And that's what the Clifton Strengths Assessment can help you uncover, is it helps show you what some of the natural ways of thinking, feeling, behaving you are. So, and just to show you, or just to tell you how unique you are, I'll show you real quick, my wife and I. So this assessment over here is, so the first one right here is me, this one over here is my wife. And the assessment itself, when you get your results, it's a 25-page assessment. And when you get your results, you're 1 in 33 million in terms of the order of your talents 1 through 34. So this is not, you're not put in one of the things that people, when I invite them to take the assessment, one of their objections is that I don't want to be put in a box, Philip. Well, you're not put in a box. In fact, if anything, this assessment shows how more complicated you are than simple you are. My wife and I, we have gone, like I said, my wife introduced me into self-development, introduced us into self-development the first year of our marriage. We've been married for going on to 22 years now. And we've been to seminars, we've been to some, heard some great speakers, we've been to, all kinds of different retreats, and we've loved them. No doubt about it, we loved them. We've also done marriage counseling because we've wanted to improve always, not just ourselves, but also our relationship, our marriage, right? We've been to communication classes. And there's not a single thing. In fact, my wife and I are putting together a workshop where her and I are going to teach a class, a workshop. And because there's not a single thing that we've ever done that has ever improved our marriage from a level of understanding, like taking the Clifton Strengths Assessment. We have 6 out of the top 10 talents right here, if you guys look at it, 6 of them are 6. We have 6 of them in common. So most, you would think, right? Oh, then that's why they get along, or that's why there's so much fun. But we are so complex in the way we do things that this answered questions that not the counselor, not the therapist, not all these seminars, everything that we did, it could not tell me the way my wife naturally thought, felt, and behaved as to her approach to our finances, or her approach to raising our kids, or her approach to cleaning the house, or her approach to being a wife or having a career. Same thing. I could never explain to her we've read the love language book, right? We've done lots of different things that we can explain to each other, our needs and communication styles and that sort of thing. But this was the first time that she could clearly read and see what are the motivators and the processes behind the way I naturally think, feel, and behave to do what I do, to get to as a husband, as a parent, as an entrepreneur, as a coach. And so it gave us a level of clarity and a level of understanding that absolutely completely transformed our marriage. Like not, I don't, I don't exaggerate that. I mean, it absolutely transformed. We've always had a great marriage. We've had our troubles like anyone else, but what it did is it gave a level of clarity and understanding that absolutely blew us out of the water, because I had no clue how she operated. And I work with people for a living. I mean, this is what I do, is I work with people. But the understanding the way someone naturally thinks, feels, and behave, I completely go into the relationship with a completely different mindset. So with that being said, I just wanted you to be very, to help give you a little understanding as to why the assessment is so important, the value behind the assessment, and understanding how the assessment can dramatically help you accomplish all of the results that you want, any goal you're shooting for. But why not do it authentically? Why not do it in the way you naturally think, feel, and behave? Motherhood, parenting, being a spouse, entrepreneur. I work with, in fact, I work with a gal. She reached the top rank of her network marketing company within 2 years, and she gained incredible burnout. And now, she began working with me, is because she wants to discover how can she re-engage in her business, in life, by understanding the way she naturally thinks, feels, and behaves. So when she moves forward, she can move forward authentically. So she's not showing up, in ways that everyone else is telling her to show up, right? She's showing up in ways that motivate her, that excite her. So there's enormous value in understanding the way you naturally think, feel, and behave as you connect to where you're going. Okay. Now, with that being said, I want to just introduce Marla here. So this is my friend Marla Scott. She's gone through one of the programs actually that I've taught before. This right here is her strengths assessment, so everybody can see there. She rocks empathy, belief, developer, futuristic, and adaptability in her top 5. And one of the things, so I asked her to send me over a bio. I asked everybody to send her a bio, and she said, and I went through this with her, and she said, this is our family motto. So I love it. I just want to read it real quick. She says, I love life. I believe in working hard, thinking good thoughts, and doing good things. This brings me happiness. And I'm like, wow, that like, I was like, that's awesome. I mean, that is incredible. And when you get to know what's cool about this is all of us have these different talents, and we play with them in different ways. But there's no doubt about it, when as we're going to go through this interview with her, you're going to see some of that come through her. But for those of you that have watched me do these interviews before, you'll pick out some of these strengths as we go through them, as we talk about them, as you get to know how other people are thriving and utilizing the strengths in their life. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring on Marla. You there? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah, I thought, oh yeah, I have to unmute myself.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine. Good to see you, Philip.
Likewise. It's good to see you again. So for those of you who don't know, I've done different interviews. These interviews that I do now are they're meant to be teaching opportunities as well, but just showing you something consistent. I ask specific questions in order to help you see different things as you're learning from different people. So I've interviewed Marla before, and I'm super excited to do another interview with her. As all of these I'm posting on YouTube so people can find them. But this is super fun. So thank you for.
I'm gonna raise my chair just a bit.
No worries. So
I didn't think about that.
Thanks for coming back.
Okay, sorry.
Thanks for doing this again with me.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome.
Good. Okay, so let's start it off. Let's first off, I want to know now, our first initial conversation I actually did was when I first joined 3 Key Elements, and we were doing out email blasts and talking about different things, and I had a conversation with you, and then I invited you to take this assessment, right, to discover the way you naturally think, feel, and behave. So what were your because I always want to know, right? My own experience was, I don't even know why I want to do this. Like, why are you asking me to do this? Like, this is silly, right? That was my first reaction when I was asked to take the assessment. But for you, what was yours? What were your thoughts?
Mine was, yes, I need this. I need this right away. When can I do it? I I just knew that it was going to help me put the pieces together, and that it was going to help me figure out why I think the way I think.
Good. That's good. That just either I did a good job or you're just that open. Combination of both, right?
Yeah. You're pretty
Combination of
good.
both. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so you were open to the assessment. You took the assessment. What were your
Yeah.
initial thoughts about your results? So now you have this. You have a 25-page assessment, right? You see a bunch of words and colors on the front
Yeah.
page. What were your first initial thoughts around the results themselves?
Well, I was looking at the first five, and I was really surprised because that first one, empathy, ah, what? So I had to learn, really. I thought, okay, I have to learn what empathy is about, because I had been told my whole life that I know you're imagining, they don't really feel that way. I don't feel that way. You're imagining things, and so I questioned myself so much. But when I read and learned that empathy, um, can sense that a person with empathy can sense the feelings of others by imagining themselves in their lives or in that situation. Yes, I've done that all my life. And it's real. It's real. I wasn't imagining things. I wasn't overreacting. It's real. Um, Learning about it now, I know that I bring about healing. Healing emotionally is how that works for me. I can create trust. Um, Sometimes I know what to say to help people.
Yeah.
And but you know what? If people don't take the time to get to know someone, then that won't work,
Yes.
you know? So I really, Philip, I really trust myself more now,
Uh,
because I know that there's a reason why I think, feel, and behave the way I do.
yes. Yes. I love that and it's so fun. First of all, it's fun to coach, fun to do, but these interviews are really fun because I get a chance to ask people their thoughts and what their first impressions were. And what you talked about right now, just your empathy in terms of, right, it's almost, yeah, to describe it, it's almost like that you finally got that permission slip that you feel like you've always knew you had, but everybody kept trying to take it away. Like everyone kept trying
Yes.
to say, like, no, you're not that. Here, give me that. You don't
Yeah.
belong on this bus, right? You don't belong.
Yeah.
You don't belong in this classroom. You're not that way. And so our
Yeah.
whole life, we feel like we're trying to get through the door, and there's this big bouncer that says, no, you don't belong here, right? And
Hmm.
I feel like same thing for me in my positivity. When I read positivity, I got emotional. I cried because my whole life people had said, you're too positive, right? You're too this and you're too much of that. And so
Yeah.
we go through life recognizing there's something about me that's different. And we have other people that are telling us, don't be that different. And now
Yeah.
we're going through like trying to search, well, who am I then? Because I feel this way, I think this way, but you're telling me that that's not the way I should think, that's not the way I
Yeah.
should feel, or that I actually don't feel that way, that I'm making it up, right? And so
Right.
part of one of the great things about exploring strengths is it finally puts a name to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like it puts a word there, and all of a sudden we can pinpoint to that word and say, oh, this is why I do this. Again,
Yeah.
my wife, it was a love-hate thing when she saw the positivity there, right? Because she's like, this is why, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it just, when you're open to it, you just realize, wow, that's it. That's the clarity right
Yeah.
there. So I love that. I love that was that was your experience, because that's the purpose, is for us to look at it and be like, wow, that is more true than I've ever acknowledged at any point, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Having more confidence in the way I naturally do things has has made me feel, well, I don't know what the word is, more confident.
Yeah.
And it's literally, you said it, given me permission
Yeah.
to be me, and to be okay with me, and to not be embarrassed or shrink away. And I've also understood, learning more about my number one, that when I walk into a room and I feel other people's emotions, they're not mine.
Right.
It's okay. I can feel them. And so now what I do is I walk into a room and it says my hand is raised. I don't
You're
know
fine.
why I did that.
You're fine. You're fine. Keep going. You're fine.
Okay. When I walk into a room now, whatever I feel, I just literally, Philip, I say a prayer for them. And sometimes I can identify it to a specific person. Sometimes I can't. And I don't worry about that. I'll just ask Heavenly Father to bless the room with the spirit of peace and love.
Mm,
And I can feel it.
that's awesome. So,
It's
so what I'm
tangible.
so what I'm hearing is that you're not just owning, right? You're not just owning the permission. You're not just,
Yeah.
owning letting this build your confidence, but you're actually utilizing this as something in your life. You're saying, okay, my whole life, I, people have told me I'm not this. I know I am this, and now I'm going to use it, right? I'm going to use my superpower
Yes.
for good, right? And
Yes.
and so I love that. So with that being said, what is, is it empathy? Or other strengths? What would you say is your superpower? If you look at that, what would you say now, as you're starting to learn, you're acknowledging, you've taken back the permission slip? What are your superpowers? What do you think you're like, wow, I'm great at this?
It's really a combination of the five, because number five is adaptability.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can be in the minute, in the moment, and then all of a sudden something happens and it's okay. Let's do that. Really? Yeah, I'm fine with that. Let's do that.
I love it.
And so I can go with the flow. And um, having my father-in-law live with us now has been really important, to be able to go with the flow.
Right.
And it's actually very calming to the house. I believe that it's my job as the woman in the house to set the tone.
Mm,
And so I bring a easygoing attitude, and it helps. But my number three, I just really am excited about it, because as developer, it's relationship building,
mhm.
and I'm a coach. I can help people achieve their goals, and I can be empathetic when they struggle, and you know I can be flexible when they're going through whatever. you know, and I get such a kick out of that. Investing in others, service, and just loving other people. I love it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love how you look at. So for those of that follow this, or those that here, I'm going to show everyone this here. So what Marla's talking about, I love that she mentioned her developer at number 3. You know, the people that have high developers, they're phenomenal coaches, they're mentors. They see the potential in everyone. Like everyone they come in contact with, they see the greatness in them, right? They're like, oh my gosh. And look at this right here, this belief. When you follow, you know, or when you have belief preceding the ideas of believing in people, their potential. I mean, this only amplifies. It amplifies. You know, if you listen to what she said about the, you know, how she takes ownership of the home, and what she brings to the energy that's using her empathy, being in the flow with her adaptability. So I love having this conversation with you, because you could definitely pick out all of these things that are, like you said, your superpower is the combination of all of them. And that's the goal. That's always the goal, is to help people understand, number one, give, make sure you know how to name it. Name
Yeah,
what these things are, because when you know how to name it, you know what to invest in, right?
right.
You have to almost look at it like, for example, like stocks, right? If you were to open up, if you were to say, you know, you have some money in your pocket, you have $1,000 in your pocket, you say, I'm going to go invest it, and you walk through this door, and there's all these stock options and all these different investments, and you're sitting here with money in your hand, you're like, I don't even know where to put this, right? I don't even know what to do with this, right? Do I put, or, you know, where yeah, oh, completely overwhelmed. But when, same thing with your talents and your strengths, when you don't know the way you naturally think, feel, and behave, when you don't have a name to it, when there's no clarity, understanding, we often don't know what to invest in. We look at a career and we say, I want to be successful in this career as an entrepreneur. I want to be a successful coach. I want to be a successful parent, or I want to be a successful, you know, a manager. And we look at it as other people, we read books, we gather information, other people
Yeah,
ideas, and then we you know, we try this, we try that, but at no point do we look at it and say, okay, what am I naturally good at, what comes to me, what lives inside of me, and let me take that money
right.
and invest it into that, right? Into my
Yeah,
developer, into my empathy, into my belief. And when we invest in the ways we naturally do things, we grow exponentially. You know, we
right.
have this exponential massive growth, where when we don't invest into who we are, you know, we struggle, and it's not resonating, it doesn't click. But when we invest into who we are naturally and what makes us tick naturally, we grow exponentially. We double and triple and quadruple our results, because we love doing it, we're so connected to it, right? So
Yeah,
I love that. I love how you illustrate all that. That's beautiful. That's really good.
yeah.
Really, really good. So what about what about, as you look at, all this, what are, you know, you talked a little bit about, you know, within your home life, you talked a little bit as a coach. What are some of the ways that you're having success utilizing your talents, utilizing your strengths in your life? Where are you, you know, how do you go about your day to day, your business as a coach, the things that you do? How do your strengths influence that?
That would be my number 4. My number 4 strength is futuristic. So I am able to envision my future.
Mm,
I'm able to get a picture in my mind of what I want it to be and what I really feel that it can be.
mm,
And the great thing about that, it's good for me, it's good for my husband, but I can also inspire others for their future.
mm.
And so um, I've done a lot of different things in my life, Philip, but never have I been so excited about my job as I am now in, you know, finding people and having people find me, and getting together and making wonderful futures happen.
I love that. That's so good. I can relate to that statement in more ways than,
I know you can.
I've done a lot in my life. And I love
Yeah,
your motto, right? Right here where it says, I believe in working hard, thinking good thoughts, doing good things, and loving life. There's no doubt about it. I've lived that way.
yeah,
However, I've noticed in my life that things necessarily didn't. I felt a lot of burnout. I felt a lot of frustration. I
yeah,
felt like I was in the wrong career. I was in the wrong job, right? I didn't get to play who I was. And never in a million years, ever in a million years, did I ever think I would be a coach. Did I ever think I'd be this idea of a mentor, that I would empower people or educate people. And partly, I didn't go to college, I didn't graduate from high school, so all these different belief systems that made me think, oh, I can't add value here. But you gave me a shovel and told me to dig a hole. Oh my gosh, I'll dig the fastest hole you've ever seen, right? So I had no problem working hard, but I just never found, I never clicked with what I was doing. And it wasn't until, so I took the strengths assessment at the end of 2019, and that that it wasn't necessarily that day. So I took the assessment, I got it, I saw positivity, I cried, finally validated, and then I tucked it away. And then 10 months later, I was watching a spiritual conference, and then I was inspired to pull this thing out and read it. And it was that day, it was that next day, I called and I got a certified coach. And that was it. It was from there. It was just, it's changed my life, because it was in that moment that I realized, wow, I bring value. Like, it was the first time that, from a spiritual perspective, right? Because I know that's a big part of you and your belief system.
yeah,
It was the first time ever that I felt like that God said, Philip, this is who you are, and this is what you're great at. And if
yeah,
you have the courage, and if you have the passion, you can do this. And that was the first time ever, because I guess I never saw it on paper, right? All I ever heard were people saying, you're too positive, you talk too much, you're too happy, that all this, you're a fire starter, you get things going. And so they were compliments, yet they were like, but that's not always good, right? They were giving me the compliment card, and they were pulling it back at the same time. And it wasn't until strengths that I saw it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to own this card. Like, this says this is who I am. Watch out, here I come. And so, same thing with you. This completely transformed my life into a direction where I get to pinch myself on a daily basis, and wow, I get to do this. Like, I get to talk to
yeah,
people about them all day
yeah,
long and tell them how cool they are. Yeah, sign me up. Sign
yeah.
me up every day, all day, right?
Yep, exactly. When you first started talking, you said that you made mention that we had talked to each other long time ago.
Hmm.
And I thought, you know, you get to see the growth. And that's what I'm so excited about my coaching, is because I get to see the growth of the people that I've come to know and love, and it's just exciting.
Good. I love that. Well, and again, that's the developer coming in you alive, and
Yeah,
that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. So so in your coaching, are there any other places where, doing on what you do on a daily basis, any other places in your life where you're like, wow, now one thing that's cool, and we didn't talk about this, but I'm gonna bring this up because I think it's awesome. But you and your husband went through the strengths program together, and it's not, and I will say this, it is not every day. In fact, it's more uncommon than it is common for people that I get to work with, where both people within the household have taken the strengths assessment. Because
yeah,
often, one person feels like, oh, this could help us, or help this could help me, and maybe the other person might be a little reluctant into, diving in or jumping on board. but you and your husband, you guys, both did. You guys attended the course. I talked to you guys separately, and
Mhm.
I mean, that is something that I think is massive. So how has the strengths, played a part in your guys' relationship, your communication, and your
Ah,
level of understanding?
so fantastic. My husband's number one is harmony. And so he will do anything to keep harmony in the house. Well, that's awesome. I mean, that's really amazing.
Right?
Um, you know, he understood me so much better, and we've really taken time to read each other's,
Mm,
so that we can understand each other better.
mhm.
And he was like, "Oh, that's why you always do that." And I'm like, "Oh, that's why, you know, you don't want me to argue with you because it's harmony."
Yeah,
His was harmony, responsibility, connectedness, belief, and achiever. And it it's just perfect for
yeah,
him.
yeah,
And together, wow.
yeah.
Um, we we did this together right when there was a big family emergency happening.
Mhm.
And um, it was perfect timing because it gave me the confidence that I needed to be of help, and it gave Jim confidence that okay, she's going to be okay, and we were apart for for a few months while this was happening, and but only physically.
Right, right.
Emotionally, because of this class, we were together so, so good.
Mm,
And now that we're home together, physically, emotionally, um, it's it's a very big part of our life, Philip. Um, we really do uh, recognize our strengths faster, and we'll say, oh, that's your connectedness, and
I
he'll
love
say, oh, there you go with your futuristic
that.
ideas again, and
That's so good.
but we're having fun with it.
Yes,
And and what's great about it is this kind of fun is lasting.
yes.
This kind of getting to know each other on a real deep level is lasting.
Yeah,
It's nothing that's surface. It's
yeah,
just deep.
yeah. I love that. It's done the same thing for me and my wife.
Yeah.
It's fun because I feel like every moment as we relive it, whether if it's the birthdays, the holidays, the family events, or
Yeah.
just at night, right? Or in the morning. And I listen to her talk, and I listen to her describe things, or I listen, go through, and I'm like, oh yeah, those are your needs. That's what's important to you. That's what you value. The reason why you say what you're saying is because that's how you think about this situation. The reason why you're acting the way you're acting because it's you're motivated by this particular talent or this particular strength. And it really gave it really, what I guess one of the biggest things that I do now more than I've ever done in my life is it forces me to ask more questions, because I've been married to
Mhm.
my wife for 21 years and I made a lot of assumptions. 100%. I made a ton of assumptions. And so when I met people, I also made assumptions. But the moment I understood strengths and I realized I can't assume anything, like I'm pretty decent at reading people, but when I start to ask them I honestly don't know. I can ask questions and kind of guide it a little bit, but the way they naturally think, feel, and behave in terms of what motivates them Why they do what
Yeah.
they do, why they think what they think, I don't know. And that's the beauty of the assessment, is to help clarify that and then to help them move forward. And there's
Yeah.
the value. And so I love, because how long have you and Jim been married?
46 years.
46 years. 46
Yeah.
years. I love that. And here you
Yeah.
are learning more about each other
All over again.
at a level. And I'm sure you guys also could go back 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and be like, oh yeah, that's why, right? that's where that come from
Yeah.
is, right? And it just, it answers, it's almost like it answers questions that
Yeah.
we've, that our whole life we're like scratching our head and being like, why does she do that? Why does this
Yeah.
happen? And I'm like, oh no, I know exactly why. I know exactly why, kind of thing. I love
Yeah.
it. Oh my gosh.
It was great.
You guys are such a great example of that. And I'm just super, it tickles me that you guys, did that together. Now,
Yeah.
with all this being said, I mean, we've talked about a lot of positive things about strengths and talents and how amazing they are, and they all are. There's no doubt about it. They are incredibly dynamic and positive, and influence our lives and impact our lives in so many great ways. But sorry, at the same time, like my positivity, for example, I could be overly positive to the point where it is a turnoff, right? Where my wife comes home and she's having an emotional day, and maybe I'm not listening to her. I'm trying to move her into a positive state of mind because it's what
Yeah.
I need. It's what I value.
Yeah.
So in that moment, I'm being a little inconsiderate. I'm being a little, I'm not being very kind to what her needs are and what her
Yeah.
processes are, because I'm only thinking, because I'm coming from my personal behavior. So one of the things I always want, that I work on a lot when I coach people and I teach, is that every talent, every single one, whether if it's empathy, positivity, activator, belief, responsibility, they all have what's called a balcony and a basement, or how I explain it, they all help you, but they also, in very much ways, they hinder you. And
Yeah.
often the things that hinder you are really found in your top five, because you
Yeah.
do it so naturally, you don't even know you did it, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
you, Jim, I'm sure, has said, sweetheart, why'd you do this? What do you talk about what I do, right? My
Yeah.
wife all the time,
Well,
babe, why'd you do this? What do you mean, why'd I do this? I don't know what you're talking about, right? But
yeah.
it's because it's so inherent in us. We've done it. We've lived our lives in a certain way. We've acted in a certain way. We haven't really taken the time to catch it, right? To be
Mhm.
aware of it so we can catch it. So that's
Mhm.
the, not just knowing what motivates you or knowing the way you naturally think, feel, and behave, but you also want to know what hinders you, right? What is the wall? What gets in the way? So with that being said, what is probably the talent that you struggle with the most?
Um, well, number 6 is connectedness.
Okay.
And so connectedness uh, and empathy kind of fight a little bit because I want to be connected with everybody, yet I feel these feelings so much, and it gets a little dicey sometimes. Jim has achiever at number 5. My achiever is number 30, way down, Um, so yeah, there's definitely been times where my strengths have been in the basement, but honestly, it was because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with them. I didn't know, why I was thinking that way, feeling that way, and behaving that way. And so I've become friends with them now.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. I'm understanding them more like you want to understand a friend.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get to know a friend to understand them.
Right.
Uh, Not even a friend. You have to get to know a person to understand them. So I had to get to know these strengths so that I could understand them, so that I could understand me, so that I could excel.
I love that. And I think that that's the biggest. So I'm going to say this because I have met with quite a few people, quite a few people
Yeah.
where they have taken a strengths assessment. They took it 4 years ago, 3 years ago. I had one gal that took it 8 years ago, and she had no clue what she was looking at. No clue,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They took this assessment much like I was invited to take the assessment, and that's all. In fact, I was invited to take the assessment so the other person can look at what it was. But there was no training, there was no information. I had no clue what it was.
Yeah.
And that has probably been the biggest eye opener for me is we go through life, we go through things and we experience things, we do things and we find value in them, or we like this and so we're going to try to implement it, and on and on and on we go, and sometimes we keep habits, sometimes we don't, right? But
Mhm.
one of the things that I love to teach people about, and I teach them how to anchor, I teach them how to hold on to, because the one thing that we can't escape, like if I, let's say there's a time in my life where I'm going to the gym every day because I just found this massive belief system in going to the gym every day. I can't help it but go to the gym every day. So I go, right? But something changes and all of a sudden I stop going to the gym and now I'm not doing it anymore. One of the things that I don't, whether I want to stop it or not stop it, the way I naturally think, feel, and behave is the way I naturally think, feel, and behave. And it's going to follow me the rest of my life
Yeah.
forever. It's going to be with me. It's not something that I can just stop doing like the gym. I let, or you know what, I'm my new meal plan. I'm going to follow it for 9 months and then I'm going to get off it. Or I have this goal, so I'm going to do these action steps. No, the way I naturally think, feel, and behave, and the way you naturally think, feel, and behave will follow you forever, the rest of your life. Either you're
Yeah.
going to take the time to learn how it serves you, or not. Or you're going to take the time to learn and invest in how do I operate? How do I utilize this? So I love that you're talking about that, because that's crucial, because everything in a way has a way in which it hinders us. Everything that we naturally do, which is why we don't have a perfect life, right? None of us do.
Right.
None of us
Right.
do. So if we have to look at, we are our own stumbling block, because the way we do things can often get in the way of our success. And so I love that
Mhm.
you've realized that when it comes time to your connectedness. When I hear what you're talking about, your connectedness and your empathy, right? And how
Mhm.
that combination can be like, oh, it's getting me in trouble, right? So you can see it, you can acknowledge it, and then you can begin to work on it. I
Yeah.
still work on my woo. My woo is number 2. I literally look at that almost daily and think, okay, am I in? How can I stay in a woo that a way and it serves me? Because I only learned how to do it in a way that didn't. So
Yeah.
kudos to you and congratulations to you for
Thank
recognizing that,
you.
acknowledging that, and doing the work. That's big.
Yeah. It took me a while to I gotta tell you, I was like, woo, what? Win people over, win others over.
Uh-huh.
And that's on my number 8. So it's not very far on the totem pole. And I feel that um, a lot when I'm trying to get to know someone, I guess. So is it when I'm just trying to get to know somebody, am I subconsciously trying to win them over? I
Oh
think
my
maybe.
gosh, a mentoring question. I love this. All
Yeah,
right,
that was
here
a
we go.
mental question. Had to
I
do
love
that
it.
in there. I just that popped into me.
Okay, so Marla's question here, and I love this. So her question is when she's getting to know someone, right? Is she trying to win them over, right? Is she trying to? So one of the things that you need to look at is this is your operating system, okay? Your operating system typically has it checks the box as it moves down to our 34, meaning your needs and your motivators typically at the top will typically dictate what you do and why you do it. further down the line, in this case, she mentioned her achiever, right? Jim's desire to achieve things at number 5 is much higher. There's a need, there's a motivator versus what Marla's a desire to the motivator to achieve, right? So if the question is when I win others over, am I, is it based on this? So it's a twofold. Number one, just to yes, you're trying to woo them, but what you're really looking for are every process that happens along the way. So number one is you're open to the feelings that this other person is experiencing. So immediately you're aware of the emotions. Immediately you're aware of your empathy alarm.
Mm-hmm.
It's going off. Woo, woo, woo,
Yeah,
woo.
it is.
This person comes in. Then your belief comes in and you begin to believe, okay, what do I believe about this person? Do I believe, what deep core, you check into a core in terms of, this person, who they are, what they do. And then you start to think of, oh, this person has so much potential. This person could do anything they want to do. This person could accomplish so much. And then you start talking about and thinking about and exploring what their future could look like because you believe in them so much.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start thinking, oh my gosh, we could go left, we could go right, we could go up, we could go down. Sky's the limit because I have adaptability. And I could see how connected we are. And your positivity comes out. And now you're trying to woo them. So your process of the woo includes all of these other things in combination. It's not
Yeah.
woo by itself. It's a combination of everything else. So for me, I have woo at number 2, but my lead with positivity. Then number 3, I have activator. Then in number 4, I have communication. Number 5, a relator. So my wooing process is all about feeding you good vibes, good energy, oh yeah, 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 yeah. It's not from a developer, and it's not from empathy. It's not from connectedness. My woo comes from positive energy, comes from my activator, it comes from my communication, my words. So I try to woo, but I'm doing it with different combination of talents. You're wooing, but with a different combination of talents. Does that make sense?
Mm. Yeah, it does. It does. And I can see things in other people that often they don't see in themselves. And so, they don't want to activate, but I'm like, oh, but I know that you would be so fantastic. And I know that you could do this. So,
And that right there is your futuristic and developer. And
right.
part of what makes you, and again, so this is a little tip for you. What will
Yeah.
make you a great coach, okay? What will make you a great developer is your goal in winning them over with what you see in them is they have to see it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
the only way your developer works and the only way your futuristic works, if you're trying to win them over, is not you seeing it, they have to see it. So often, this is what I do in a lot in coaching, I have to ask questions. I have to ask questions. So that's why when I ask, does it make sense? I clarify, because if the client you're meeting with, if they don't see it, even though you can, that's the thing. You have to look at your talents as almost like superpowers. You have
Yeah.
superpowers they don't have.
Yeah.
So how do you use your superpowers to help them? So in your case, as a developer, you see this person with great potential, you see their talents, you see amazingness, you can see this future that they can't see. So your job is to ask
Help
to get
them.
them to see it and make sure they can see it before you step away. Because if you step
Yeah.
away, they don't see it, they're not going to do anything. But
Right.
if they can see it, then they'll take action. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And honestly, I love helping people to see that in
Mhm.
themselves.
Mhm.
It's awesome.
Yeah, 100%. Oh my gosh. Fun, fun, fun. I love these
So
questions.
fun.
Okay, so what would you say, because you've been on now and you mentioned it, we've been together in terms of a relationship, you've gone through a program, I've talked with you and your husband one-on-one. You've been on your strengths journey for a little bit now. So what would you say what would you say is the greatest thing, the takeaway? If you could, one aha, one takeaway, one just what is understanding your strengths? What has it done for you?
Wow, that got me in the feels. Um, it's emotional.
Wow.
It really is emotional to me because it gave me permission. I don't have to apologize for the way I think, feel, and behave. Um, I have confidence, more confidence in myself now, and more confidence in my ability to help others. Um, gave me permission. It's awesome.
I love that. I love that. So on all the graphics that we do, part of my mission is to help people understand that, and the purpose of my mission is to help people live unapologetically. And so
Yes.
I love that you say that, because that's, we go through life all the time apologizing and thinking we're wrong and thinking we're doing things wrong, thinking something's
Yeah.
wrong with us. And
Yeah.
more and more we do that, we lower our personal value, we lower our confidence, what you were talking about earlier. And the
Yeah.
more and more we acknowledge what's great about us, and we don't apologize for it, but we own it, we claim it, and we use it, we
Yeah.
exercise these talents, we stretch our talent legs, um,
Yeah.
we begin to we begin to find success in areas that are authentic and fun and natural, and we could show up and do them
Yeah.
every single day and not feel tired, right? And not feel like we're drained. So I
Right.
love that. I love that. Absolutely love that.
And Philip, your song at the beginning, when you love people, you love them all the way. Oh, that is perfect for the strengths assessment. And um, I just have to give you a little tiny bit of kudos because there are not very many coaches that coach the way you do. And you have invested in this. And I have been a recipient of your investment. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I going back to what, when you made the statement that you do what you love every day, and that, that you have permission, the strengths gave me
Mhm.
permission. Like, it was the first time
Yeah.
that I was like, you know what? I want to do this. And I get to
Mhm.
live on purpose every day. And so it is, it's a, people talk about, labors of love. This is my labor of love, right? Is helping people live
Exactly.
unapologetically. So thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate the compliment and I accept it. Thank you.
You're
um,
welcome.
so one last question as we're wrapping up here. What would be, now we have people that I have a lot of people that watch these recordings. We have different guests that come on. We have different people that watch them live. What would you say to someone that's just starting out their strengths journey, right? They don't have their assessment. They're like, what, they're just starting out, or maybe they do just barely took their assessment, or they took it 5 years ago. They don't know what would be your biggest recommendation of all of through your entire strengths journey? What is your biggest recommendation for people to do?
Invest in yourself.
Mm.
You are worth it. Um, if if you haven't looked at that in 5 years, get it out, dust it off. It's still valid.
Hmm.
Your strengths are God given, and they are what make you you. And you're pretty terrific.
I love that. I love that. I tell people all the time, right, that we are so willing to invest in our car, in our home, in
Yeah.
our stocks, our retirement, all these different things. Yet when it comes time to ourselves, we don't take time to invest. And if you're
You
really
know,
good,
you just made me think of it. We love dogs,
yeah.
and um I tell people all the time, if you invest in the training of your dog, you will have a thinking dog.
Mhm.
If not, you will have a stinking dog. And so, thinking about that, why wouldn't you invest in yourself?
Yeah, yeah,
Because I mean, remember that there's a little thing that says, God doesn't make no junk.
yeah, yep, yep.
It's true.
It's true.
It doesn't.
It's
Yeah.
true. Yep. And that's the thing, is that there's three ways that we can invest: time, money, and energy, right? It's
Yeah.
three ways that we invest it every day into all kinds of different sources, all kinds of different places. And you are hands down the greatest investment you'll ever invest into. And so
Exactly.
I love that you say that, because it's so important and so valid
Yeah.
as people are
Yeah.
searching for themselves and trying to do these
Yeah.
things. So, but anyways, so thank you so much for joining me tonight, Marla. I really appreciate it.
Oh,
You've been
love it.
phenomenal. Yeah, you've been phenomenal. Thank you so much for being here, and I greatly appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
All right, you have yourself a beautiful night. Thank you much.
Thank you.
All right, perfect. Bye bye. Excellent, 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 excellent. Well, that was super fun. I absolutely enjoyed that. I want to thank everybody for joining on. Now, as we're kind of wrapping up here today, what I want to do is go ahead and um, I always try to end this with kind of a teaching moment, right? A teaching opportunity here to kind of show you a little bit about, the value of strengths and the value of understanding, and hopefully through the interview tonight, you gain some of that, right? Because that's super important. Um, but I just want to I just want to share this here. And, what is the value of our authenticity, right? So what's the value of, more importantly, what's the value of knowing the way we naturally think, feel, and behave? As we move forward in life, we move forward often based on external motivators, right? Money, goals, career, relationships. And we pursue these things out here. And this is where we begin to model. This is where we begin to figure out, okay, I want these things, but I don't know my natural processes. I don't know what ticks inside of me. I don't know. So we model and we do action steps, and we start to, we're unanchored. So we float towards a money activity, right? We float towards our goals. We float towards different relationships, and we're not centered and grounded and understand the way we naturally think, feel, and behave, and the dynamics that it creates as we go about doing things. When we don't know, I want to be super clear on this. When we don't know the way we naturally think, feel, and behave in the pursuit of the very things that we want, our goals, career, money, abundance, relationships, we create burnout in life every single time, because we pursue it, and we pursue it based on someone else's ideas or based on someone else's thoughts. And it's not the business, it's not the coaching, it's not the goal, it's not the relationship, it's not the career, because other people are successful in all of these. So why not us? But when we pursue it in a way that doesn't resonate with us, that doesn't, and this doesn't mean that you have to have talents in order to reach goals. Absolutely not. My achiever, same thing, not even close to anywhere where it would mean success. Yet I've achieved a lot of things in my life because I'm very clear on what motivates me. I'm very clear on what excites me. I'm very clear on what I'm passionate about. So which allows me to eliminate burnout. I don't get burned out when I pursue what I love. I don't get burned out when I pursue relationships, when I'm grounded in the way I naturally think, feel, and behave. I no longer have to shift to get someone into my life. I don't have to change for you. I don't have to change for my goals. I don't have to change to create wealth. I don't have to change for my career. But when I wasn't grounded in the way I naturally thought, felt, and behaved, I absolutely was influenced by all the outside ideas and concepts and people. When I thought, oh, I'll go it this way. And they're like, no, you shouldn't do that way. You got to do it this way. Don't do it that way. Do it my way. Don't do it that way. Do it this way. Don't do it that way. And then I was pursuing all these other people's ways, and I was burned out. I got burnt out. So what I'd love to introduce is the idea behind you pursuing everything from an internal motivation. When you can figure out the way you naturally think, feel, and behave, when you can name it, when you can clarify exactly what it is, you understand where your motivation comes from. Understanding, for example, Marla, right? Where her empathy is and how important that plays an important part in her life. Manage it, utilize it for good. It's a superpower. What about your belief? What about developer, connectedness, her woo that we've talked on, her adaptability? All of these are superpowers. You're either going to utilize them to reach your goals and become very clear in what motivates you, or you're going to struggle with burnout because you're motivated externally. You're motivated externally by people, externally by the goals, externally by money, externally by a career, and not clear on what motivates you internally. Does this make sense? Raise your hand if this makes sense. I want to make sure it's super clear that you understand when we are motivated by external things, we shift, we adjust, we move, we listen to everyone else's ideas and everyone else. And you know what you ought to do? You know what you should do? You know what I would do if I were you, right? And then we start floating and moving and we get burnt out. But when we're clear internally, the way we naturally think, feel, and behave, the action steps are just action steps, right? In the pursuit of your career as a coach or a mentor, as a father, as a mother, the action steps don't change. I still wake up with my son to get him to school, just like you. There's no difference. But the difference is I'm very clear on what motivates me internally. What is my motivating process so that when I show up to wake him up, I'm showing up authentically. And I'm not burning out. I'm not trying to listen to the other dad that says, you know what I do? You know what you ought to do? I do it the way I do it because I want to do it authentically. I want to have fun with it. I want to engage in it. I never want to get burned out of being a father. I never want to get burned out of being a husband. And I did. 100% I did. Because I was listening to all these other people of saying, you know what you should do? You know what you ought to do? And I'm sitting here just tripping over myself as I'm trying to make the love of my life happy. I never can because I'm not doing it authentically to me. Understanding the way you naturally think, feel, and behave creates an incredible amount of awareness and clarification. It'll blow your mind. It'll absolutely blow your mind. And I love doing that, by the way. That is one of the funnest things I love to do. So here's my invite to you, okay? 5 steps in which I help people live authentically. Number 1 is we need to aim it. We need to name it. Getting a Clifton Strengths assessment so that we can name what motivates you. We want to name it. We want to give it a name. Is it empathy? Is it your activator? Is it belief? Is it your achiever? Is it adaptability? Is it connectedness? What is it that motivates you most? What is it that has the most need inside of you in the way you naturally think, feel, and behave? Let's name it. Don't question your authenticity. Know your authenticity. Know yourself naturally by naming it. Second thing is we want to understand the needs and motivators within that. There are needs and motivators within inside of every single talent that have to be addressed. My positivity has a need, and I've put that need on an expectation on other people around me. That's not their job. That's not what they need. It's what I need. So I've learned and I teach people how to fulfill their own needs, how to find motivation for themselves instead of looking for it externally in their relationships and putting that expectation on them, or the expectation on, I'll be motivated when I hit my goal, or I'm going to be motivated by the process of blood, sweat, and tears to the purpose of, to my goal. No, find motivation within you, and getting the goal is fun. Getting the goal is easy. Getting the goal is adventurous. It's not laborious and exhausting and burnout. Next is awareness. You have to be very clear on what it looks like for that to serve you. For just like the great example of what Marla asked about her woo. Just because you have woo doesn't mean you want to win others over just by default. You have to understand all the other components within there that makes your woo the way it makes it. I want to say this, you're more complicated than you think, which makes you more amazing than you realize you are. You are incredible, and you have some very specific talents and natural talents that motivators and needs that when you learn how to play in them, and then I teach you how to master them, forget about it. You're having fun in the pursuit of abundance, goals, relationships, the things that you want, but we have to be clear on what that looks like. You have to become aware of it. You have to find a level of appreciation. This is a big one. This is huge. You have to find an appreciation for the things that maybe people have told you are you shouldn't do or you shouldn't have. Appreciation is a core piece of the system. You cannot own being on the bus. You cannot own going into the club when the bouncer is standing right there and saying, do you own, he's going to ask you, do you own your positivity, right? Do you own your developer? Do you own this? And by owning it and appreciating it, you can get in and you can play big time, play all out, but you got to appreciate this. And the last is anchoring. One of the biggest things I teach people how to do is I customize anchoring techniques, because you don't want to just anchor it with, maybe a declaration or something on your vision board, but there's all kinds of different techniques and different things that I can teach you how to anchor your strengths so that you wake up authentically. You go to bed authentically. Everything you do in your life is authentic. Everything. So all of the things you want to do, money, relationships, abundance, creating your goals, career, what do you want to do? Do it authentically, and wake up every morning knowing the way you naturally think, feel, and behave has value. It has merit in who you are and what you do. Own this. This is a recipe for your success, to drive internally what you do and what you love. So if this sounds like something you want to do and sounds like something you're like, I gotta learn more about this, book a call with me. I would love to know. I'd love to know, what are you working on? What are you currently working on right now? What are you currently doing right now that is not going in the direction that you want to go? Maybe you're not motivated towards it. Maybe you feel empty about it. It's there. You've been wanting this. Maybe it's on a vision board. You have it on your wall. What are you currently working on right now that you're struggling with? Is it a relationship? Is it your career? Is it your entrepreneur? Is it your business? Is it your goals? What are you struggling with right now? And that you feel you're pushing away, right? You're distancing yourself from because you're not owning you in the process of it. One of the greatest coaches, one of the greatest mentors I ever had a chance to work with, taught me something, that people don't do anything until they see themselves in it. Does that make sense? People don't do anything until they see themselves in it. You're not going to pursue what you're trying to pursue if you don't see yourself authentically in it, the way you naturally think, feel, and behave. So let's put yourself there. Let's see yourself in pursuing that. So I want to know what your goal is. I want to know what you think is in your way. And I want to know whether or not you know what it looks like for you to live authentically. Because if you can't answer that question, if you think authenticity is changing your hair color, if you think authenticity is waking up on the right side of bed versus the left side of the bed, if you think authenticity is maybe telling someone, that you haven't told in a long time that you don't want to be their friend, because that's being authentic, right? We have all kinds of different definitions for the word authenticity or authentic. What I'm talking about right now is in the way you naturally think, the way you naturally feel, and the way you naturally behave to pursue the results that you want in life. The results that you want: abundance, relationships, goals, career, business. What do you want? And let's get clear on the way you naturally think, feel, and behave to drive that performance, to reach your goals, to reach what the things you want to do. All right? So book a call. Book a call. I want to talk with you and I can help you. I promise you that. I can show you things within inside of you, the way you naturally think, feel, and behave, that can dramatically change the direction you're going. No, let me clarify that. It's not going to change the direction that you're going. It's going to change the motivators that we're using to move forward, so that you wake up wanting to do that thing. So you wake up excited to do that thing, because we've clicked in to your internal motivators. We've clicked into your internal needs. We've clicked into your unique operating system. That operating system you have on your phone, that we're gonna create one. I'm gonna show you yours, and we're gonna click into it heavily so you can pursue your goals. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. If you guys enjoyed tonight's webinar, do me a favor, raise your hand. I always love it when I get some feedback, and that way I know that we're on the right page. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. So I'll be posting these on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. Just look Philip Ramos Clifton Strengths, and you can go there and you can take a look at some of the interviews I've done. Book a call with me. I'd love to chat with you and figure out what are you working on, and how can I help you? How can I help you move the needle in your life as you want to pursue and move forward? All right. Have yourselves a beautiful evening. Have yourselves a wonderful evening. I'll be back Saturday morning at 10 a.m. with the same link, and we're going to do another interview on someone else with 5 different strengths. All right. Thank you again. Have a beautiful, beautiful evening with your family. I wish you all the best. And I love what Marla said, because it's true. When I love someone, I love them all the way. I absolutely love what makes you tick. I'm fascinated by you, and I want to show you how amazing you are in the pursuit of what you want to do. All right. Have a beautiful night. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.